Hey, welcome to the first level of the speedrun tutorial. So the reason why I'm doing it only now is because it's actually pretty hard chapter select level. So I wanted you to have some practice first with at least Pink Desert on or underground level, so you were familiar with the Dropshoot. But now that you should be a bit okay with it, we can see it. So first of all, I will show an easy exit for PS3 runners, because it doesn't work for any other platforms as it requires a low frame rate, so you can skip if you're not a PS3 runner. So it sort of goes like this. When you chop the flyers at the start, you go for between the left two buildings in here and you do a drop shoot. And you aim for the corner in here. So as you can see, the wind is pushing me back. However, if I play with a low FPS like right now, you'll see it will work. I play with 20 FPS right now because at 30 FPS on PC it still seems to be very hard. And you see it's very easy to go in, just like that. So there is a huge invisible wall on the right, so you gotta aim for the sun after going forward for a little while. I get back to normal FPS, by the way. And then you go forward, you know, actually where do you go? Oops, yeah, it's here. This is where you want to, the place you want to touch this rock, just like so. A bit more down maybe. There, okay. I'm not used to taking these exits. But yeah, that's it, it's pretty easy. But it's a little bit slower than the other exits. So now for every other runners we are going to see the East OOB entrance. This one was the West OOB entrance, okay, for PS3. So there is actually a third OOB entrance high up in the air over the West OOB entrance, but it's too slow to get there and it's not worth it. And if you have too much troubles, you know, you can just watch the history lesson. If you're a new player, I really recommend you take the two symbols, because the way we will enter out of bounds, they will come in handy to have one more jump. You can do it like this and then try a sort of boost, like towards the camera, to end up over there, somewhere in here. And from this place, you will be able to perform a sort of dive boost to go out of bounds. So the East OOB entrance is exactly where my head is, in here. So there is a wind wall all along, and this part is sort of a weak point in the wind wall, and if you get some speed, you can slide out of bounds through the wind wall. By jumping like this, it is possible, but very hard. I don't recommend. Ideally, you want to be boosting to get more speed. So you can start from this dune in here or the one further away. I prefer to go further away. So you do one jump, another one, and you basically try to empty your scarf, and then you go for it just like that, okay? I think this is maybe the best option for beginners. So let's show it again once, maybe. So you empty your scarf slowly like this, and when it's empty you boost. Okay. And you see I'm doing this wave like this. So you can't aim the camera back down too late, or you will slide vertically against the wind wall for too long and you will never enter out of bounds. You need really to push it back. And I start pushing it back the moment I hit the corner. You know, I'm like this, and the moment I'm here, I'm already starting pushing it back. Sometimes you will only half enter through the wind wall. You will start aiming the camera down, you will be a little behind, but the wind will still push you back, and it won't let you in. So rather than jumping in place and trying to force the entrance, a good tip is to press the screensaver button. This way you will sit, and you will slide out of bounds. So let's assume I only half made it like this. So rather than jumping and trying to force my way in, which can sometimes be hard, you can just hold jump, and then you get out of screensaver. You can keep on holding the left stick completely forward, by the way, because you don't need to stay in screensaver for a long time. And yeah, you will just slide out of bounds like this. It's very easy. And then once you're out of bounds, the idea is just to drop shoot at the bottom, like this, sort of. So here there is an invisible wall, bonk, okay? So you need to slide under. So it's just after the ground goes up in here, so be aware of it. And Dropshoot in here, and then you can boost. Same here, if you boost too high up, there is another thing you can bonk. So you need to fly under. There's a wall. So either you go far on the right, or you go under it. So you don't have to do a slow boost. I think it helps because you will do a longer dive with a more powerful boost. But if you do a dive boost just like I did, you see it can work. Oof. And there, up, I sit. Because it doesn't let me in. Okay? It's a bit of the noob strat, but it works. And then you do your drop shoot like this, and you go towards the exit just in here. So now let's show a full chapter select level tutorial for a new player. So I would jump without chirping the flyers, take a symbol, okay, and take a second one, continue my dive, and then you can boost towards the camera like this. Something like that. And the idea is to go over there. And then you recharge your scarf and you prepare for your dive boost. You do your jumps like this. You try to aim. Oof, that didn't work. It's okay, you can start again. I never practiced this much, so it's hard for me. Harder than the hard strat. So there you go. And you aim the camera back down like this at the exact moment you hit the out of bounds corner. Alright? And then you can start your drop shoot like this. You go under this invisible wall here. And then you stay to go under this one here too. And you aim directly to this rock. Alright? Easy peasy. I hope you'll manage this. So now I'll show you the chapter select hardcore route, the one most speedrunners use. So it's very hard, so it's okay if you fail it a lot at first. Even us, we still fail it a lot and we do a lot of resets in chapter select. But that's okay because it's the first level, so we can restart quickly. Also, if you watched the scarf section from my intro video, you'll know that now is the time to check for the first symbol, if it gives you one scarf charge or two. It's better if it gives you two, no? So let's check. I take one, and I see if I can jump 4 times. 1, 2, 3. And I can only jump 3 times, so this is good. It means the next symbol I take will give me 2 scarf charge. So I can start my run now, and I will start with an ideal symbol placement. You don't have to do this, it's just to get a bonus scarf energy that can help you, maybe not. So right off, you want to be holding a chirp. So depending on the platform you play in, you could consider the speedrun starts with a loading time, you know, before you are able to gain control of the character when you teleport to chapter select. And this short time, it will vary between different PC, or if you play on PS4, PS3, whatever. So for me it's quite fast, so usually when I press yes to go to chapter select, I hold jump like this and chirp. And I know exactly when I can release chirp. So on PS4 you'd have to hold the chirp button even longer than I do. But it's the same mechanic, and usually it takes a few retries of chapter select until you really remember how long you need to press chirp. Okay? So you can do it a few times like this. Try to release in. Okay, this was great. You want to chirp at every flyers or most of them. Anything on PC version only. When you have, after launching the game, as soon as you have went from a level to another one, when you will teleport to chapter select, the screen will flash white like this. And it doesn't do it the first time you enter chapter select after launching the game, but it's actually a good visual cue to help you with when to release the chirp button, because you know you can release it really a tiny bit after the screen flashes white. So you can use this as a cue. If you release a little bit too early, something like that, and you only get 3-4 flyers, this is bad. okay? So that's what you want to work on. So to make sure you chirp at the flyers, notice where you start off. You face north and the flyers are behind you. So what you want to do when you are still in the black screen, you want to be pushing the camera fully to the right, and at the same time you start moving your character fully to the right as well. This way you will start moving like this. You're both starting to move toward there, which is where you want to go, and you're also going closer to the flyers. So I can show you what it looks like with my Tron shader on, you know, it's a bit like in the movie. And this way you can see in the black screen how I move. And I start a dive again. Okay, so this is what you want to be doing. So now again without the Tron shader thingy, and you start your dive. So immediately after I release my chirp, I push my rest stick down, so I start diving. I think it's important to first turn it fully right to get towards the flyer, and only then start diving. Otherwise you would start your dive toward here, and then you'll have to turn the camera like this, start your dive. Then you can flatten the camera if you want. Don't do this too much if you're a new player, because there's a risk of flattening it too much. This dune here is very steep. It's a bit like the last dune of a Pink Desert level when you follow the route I take, like going for the War Machine banner or near it, on the right side of Pink Desert. This Dropshoot is very hard because when the ground is steep, you will Dropshoot more slowly with and when you Dropshoot more slowly, the camera, it seems like it wants to flatten even more. So you have to fight harder with the right stick to flick. And this is why I wanted you to practice a Dropshoot before doing CS. Okay? Like this. It's not easy to fight the camera like this for a long time and get a huge boost after. I recommend you have some practice with the Dropshoot first, so you can do so on any dune. You land with like a camera fully down maybe, and you learn to fight. You learn how to flick. You try different things until you manage to get a good flicking technique, a bit like I just did, and get a decent boost. You don't need the most powerful boost ever, but a decent one. When that's done, you will have to learn how to boost. So it is possible to boost by just aiming the camera up, but I really heavily recommend against it, because if you boost like this, it's a bit messy. Okay, there it worked. I know Seki Albatros does it like this in chapter select, but it's hard because to take off it will be hard to take off from the ground like this. So the idea is to first push the left stick towards you to detach from the sand, and when you're detaching from the sand, you aim the camera up, and then the left stick you push it back fully forward. Okay, let's show it what this move is like. You'll have to train this movement. So you flick and then left stick towards you, at the same time you push the camera up, and then you move the left stick forward. If I do this all in one single motion, this is what it looks like. So let's do my Dropshoot, and then left stick towards me. Okay, so it goes very fast as you can see. So it's just left stick toward me, I push the camera up, and left stick back forward. Something like this, okay? So my right stick is inverted, but it's the same. I recommend you practice this movement quite a bit. So let's show it again. So this time towards the out of bounds exit. Left stick toward me, camera up, and back fully forward. Something like this. And then, once you've learned this movement, the idea is to learn to aim for the exit. You will be a bit here when you will start boosting, over there. So where you want to aim is just here, you know? So you want to touch the rock first. If you hit the corner of the out of bounds exit right in like this, you boost and boom, you will most likely slide vertically against the wind wall. So try to aim just under it, like this. This way you will sort of slide under, and then you can aim the camera down to dive into OOB. if you hit it too low, something like this, you will also slide vertically against the wind wall. But it's really this area here that you have to aim precisely at. So let's show it. I do my drop shoot, I flick, do the camera movement, and oof, there I hit it too high up. Let's try from the start, it's easier. So here you flick, then you boost like this, and you aim the camera back down. There I aim nicely. I was running out of boost, so you can do the beginner noob strat. You sit to slide OOB, or you just reset, you know. When you go for the drop shoot, you want to land, you want to go between these two rocks, this one and this one. Usually, personally, I land just over this one because I flatten my camera a lot, but this is not recommended at first. So you would most likely land a little under it on the left, like this, and you flick. You can actually hold the camera fully right or left instead of flicking very fast, you know, it's up to you. And if you do so, you turn it fully left to go like this, and then fully right when you arrive in here, and then you boost, okay? So let's show without flicking, but most turning it sideways, and then the other side, then you boost, like this, alright? So you saw here, I was less in the corner, but more a little on the right, and it works as well. A reminder, if you play on PS3, PS4, Sixaxis problem, I know Nishiro told me once.
That's hearsay, I guess.
He stayed in chapter select for like 2 hours, trying over and over again, and he couldn't get the exit at least once. And this was because he sort of had forgotten about Sixaxis and was moving his controller during the drop shoot, and as a result the camera would flatten and his boost would get very weak. So yeah, not only you have to flick quite hard, at least have a good flicking technique, you know, to keep a good camera angle, and on top of it on PS4 you can't move the controller at all, so remember that, it's important. So this is how we would flick, by the way, something like this. So I go very hard, as you can see. When I go in a straight line, it's what's needed to keep the camera down, at least on PC. Or you can hold it sideways for like half a second, sometimes like this. It's whatever you prefer. But here I hit it. This is an interesting exit. It's a problem I've mentioned you earlier. If you hit the exit too low, you won't make it. You will slide vertically against the wind wall. So instead, I made a jump with my character. This way, my character ended up here, and I managed to boost from there inside. So I suggest you watch it again if you want. But that's a really interesting way to save the out of bounds exit when you hit it too low. And what you want to avoid is really aiming for the out of bounds exit too high up, like this. You see, it doesn't work. Note you can actually start flicking the right stick before even hitting the sand, like here, okay? To not take any risks of having the camera flatten, okay? So now when you enter out of bounds, you may have seen on our runs, professional players of course, we don't drop shoot at the bottom like I've shown before. We try to drop shoot on a bit higher up. Making it to the upper floor for the drop shoot and out of bounds just takes some practice, but you'll get there eventually after a few fails. So it's not easy. I was always failing to drop shoot in here at first, and I would end up at the bottom anyway. But if you manage to, so you do a drop shoot in here, there is a... You don't want to bonk this side, you want to drop shoot just right of it, and then you continue in a straight line. And me, I look at the ground, you know, there is white stripes, and I usually aim for where the head of my character is, this white part. And this is where I would drop, to dive under the invisible wall that is just under my head over here, okay? So this way I can do my dive. I hold jump, I do usually 2 jump, and then I can boost over this dune, aim the camera back down in here. If you got a problem with the dune that is too high up, you can aim a little more left, and then you boost to the right like so. So now I'm in Journeys just to show you the invisible walls we have to go under. So here is when we drop to do a dive, and we dive under this wall. It's a rather fat wall. Just a small portion of it, not easy to see, but basically we go under it. And then here ahead of me, this is the second wall we dive under. So you see you can go on the right of it, or you dive under, and you go straight for the trigger like this. So let's show you the path now. So you need to boost high enough before aiming the camera back down in out of bounds, or you won't make it in here. And jump like this, in a straight line, and here I boost. We go for the exit like this. So let's show an example of what it could look like for a new player maybe. So you land with the camera fully down or almost. You go left at the road, then right. And you can boost, you aim, and like that, something like this. Maybe. If you're a PS4 player, I recommend you have a look at some PS4 runs in chapter select like Ribi, Bange, Nichero. And you will notice how they angle their camera the moment they enter out of bounds. Usually, unlike me, where it aims like it is on my screen right now, for them it aims a little bit more straight toward BB exit. And they boost with the left stick a little bit sideways. Their character is angled a bit to the side like this when they enter OOB. And the reason for this is because, as I have mentioned in the intro video, the camera gets slow diagonally on PS4 and PS3 versions, PS5 too. So to avoid having to move the camera sideways back towards the BB trigger and then moving it back down to start a dive, they first angle it like this, and so they only have to aim it back down. It saves them a bit of time to have a better trajectory. So that was more like how PS4 runners do it. It's possible to do this exit on PC with a mouse and keyboard. I suggest watch how Charybdis does it. Because the mouse moves faster, you can actually make it even with a slightly weaker boost than we do, because after you boost, you aim the camera back down very fast and you can start diving immediately in out of bounds. So it kind of helps. It does it like with the flyers like this, a drop shoot without touching the camera at all in here, or almost. Then he aims for it and just watch. Personally, when I do chapter select, I hold jump continuously from the moment the flyers start to lift me to the moment I boost. But because of it, I only have like one jump after I lift. Like you can actually stop pressing the jump button when the flyers lift you up, like now, and then start holding up again when they will stop. This way you are sure you will have almost a full scarf, and you'll have one more jump than I do, and it can help if anything happens in the air when you're trying to go out of bounds, you know. I do it just because of habit, don't necessarily try to copy me. If you want a tip to improve your chapter select over time, the idea is to be aware. If you start your boost from closer to the out of bounds exit, like if you start it from here, you don't need such a powerful boost anymore because the boosting distance is reduced. While if you start your boost from lower, it needs to be more powerful and you need to flick harder, camera fully down for longer. Okay. So this is why I flatten my camera too, because I know I will be able to start boosting higher up and I don't need such a powerful boost. See, up, and I'm already out of bounds. I didn't boost for long at all here. And then I failed to reach the floor, but it happens. So this level in the end is tons of muscle memory. It will take you forever until you can do it fast, but it's by doing full runs you practice, because you always do this level over and over again, and you do it so much, eventually you'll end up very good at it over time. So don't worry if it takes you a lot of time. You'll have a lot of opportunities to practice it. So let's show you a full example of how I would do this level in a speedrun. So I let go of chirp just after the flash, flatten the camera, then I aim it a little bit more down before landing. I boost after like 2 jumping animations only from the wayfarer on the ground, but I really recommend you do more than 2 at first. And then I boost like this, and boom. Okay. Let's show another one. because it's so short. Like this. That was a good one. Alright, and that's it. Oh, actually, here, if you don't want to see the Wayfarer, teleport back like it did in the corridor. Hold jump after you touch the trigger. This way you will stay out of it. I have actually never timed to see if the loading time gets slower with one way or another. I don't think it does. But yeah, if you hold jump after touching the trigger, you will remain in a fully wide screen. Thank you for watching. Next time we will see Broken Bridge level, and I wish you good luck.